Hey, how's it going, everyone? It's Pigeon Done here, and I'm just going to show you how to really complete Light Tank 15.3. These missions are pretty difficult, um, and they get brought up quite a bit on things like the subreddit, so we're just going to delve right into it so you can get them done quicker. But first things first, just a quick shout out to the sponsors, /S and #RealTalk. The parts of the video that correspond to each will be signified in the bottom, so you can tell the difference between facetiousness and real pointers. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so first things first is you want to make sure you're the only light tank on the team. Why? Well, if there's another light tank and you're spotting the same target, any damage the team does is going to be split. Alright, and the next thing is you want to make sure there's enough TDs camping in the back with Artie shooting what you're spotting, or else nothing's going to happen. But let's be fair, this is Pravorovka, so it's anyone's guess who's going to be camping the 1-2 line. Alright, and lastly, it just comes down to whatever map you get from the random map pool. If it's not Pravorovka or Fire Assailant, just keep telling yourself you can do it on Himmelsdorf. Now, if none of these things are true, then you're just going to go ahead and Suicide Scout. Now, this is a great way to get your team 100, 200 damage, probably nothing. But what I've done here is throw together some maps that can show you how to do that quicker. Ensk is nice because you can't retreat down that path or second guess yourself. Swamp is also a good one because once you hit those wet spots, you're never coming back. And this is just a map of Kharkov because it's a fucking joke for light tanks. Alright, so every map is going to have a few positions, if not one king position from which to passive scout. So what you want to do is right at the beginning of the match, start heading to that location. Now, if you notice that there's another light tank moving to that same place, or it looks like your team is lemon training to the other side of the map, it might be time to reconsider. But as we can see here, it looks like a fair number of our team are going to come give us some good supporting fire. And that supporting fire is going to be crucial for the next stage of the match, which I like to call the duel. Now, this is basically the product of every light tank in the game knowing exactly where they should go to get the most passive scouting done. And this involves a lot of things, including where you spawned, how fast your tank is relative to theirs, and if that heavy tank in base just had to ram you. Now, the main thing to remember here, this is all Mark of Excellence dependent. Basically, this guy has 3, so I'm going to feel 3 times as smug having won this engagement. Whereas if I had lost, I could just blame this on him being a Wallet Warrior or having no life, or something else unsubstantiated. Now, the cardinal rule of trying to get these missions done is to not fire your weapon. As soon as you do that, you're basically giving away 3/4 of your camo value, and let's face it, RNGesus doesn't love you like he loves them, so you're probably going to bounce anyways. So don't turn yourself into a XP pinata, just keep passive scouting and let your team do the heavy lifting. They've got bigger guns that are going to be more impactful on how the game develops, and they've got armor in case any rounds come your way downrange. That said, make sure you keep your turret pointed in useful directions. Like here, I'm keeping it pointed at the IS-6 because he's most likely to be the first person to see me, and thus the first person to start shooting. Oh, I'm sorry about this. I forgot to turn this off. That's just a mod to tell me that my chassis is sticking too far out. This goes part and parcel with making sure you're aiming in pertinent locations. Make sure your chassis is taking full advantage of the foliage around you. You don't want to leave any part of your tank sticking out. Now, you're going to be seeing me moving around and looking around quite a bit here. It's pretty useless. At this point, I just recommend getting a book out that you've been working on, maybe turning a few pages in that. Make yourself a nice cup of coffee. Or, be hygienic, go take a shower. I know that last one seems weird, but if you've been playing Artie all day, or maybe E25s, or you landed that one really nasty shot in a T49 you know you really shouldn't have, that might apply to you. And actually, I think I'm going to go make myself a nice cup of coffee, so I'm going to put on some jams, and I'll be right back. I forgot this is an action-packed game and I wouldn't have time to finish it. This is just some really hot water. Anyways, what we're seeing here is that sometimes, regardless of the fact that they can't see you, the enemy team is going to know exactly where you're at, and they're going to blind fire you. So don't let that encourage you to return fire. Again, it's going to be pretty ineffectual, probably, and it's just not worth the risk. So just keep letting them blind fire. honestly, it's pretty unlikely that they're ever going to hit you. So unlikely, in fact, that I'd wager. Actually, it's going to happen about every single time, so just count on that, and they're usually going to knock out 1 to 2 modules. So yeah, if I was good here, I would know not to repair my engine until you know, we have to. Okay, so you want to repair right away. That's just in case something happens. You know, don't worry about things happening where you might need to react to those specific scenarios. Just repair right away. That'll keep you in the fight, you know. Okay, so at this point in the battle, we can see that our friendlies are moving up, and they're about to start spotting for themselves. Now, normally, this would indicate that you should probably move, but since this is Pravorovka and there's an unspotted T-28, we're going to play it extra safe, and we're not going to be the first one that he sees. So instead, we're going to take these shots because there's now even a couple more layers of concealment between us and the enemy, and we'd rather take these fully aimed shots than ones on the move. But now that it's pretty obvious the T-28 isn't over here, it's perfectly fine to reload and move up to basically any position where we're going to continue to spot for our team. At this point, that's going to be the middle of the map. But while we're moving, we want to make sure that we're keeping concealment and, if possible, cover between us and the spotted enemies. And like this case, this bush is okay in third-person view, but as soon as we go into sniper view, we can see that we're not really spotting anything. So it's time to motor. And also common sense tells us we're not going to see anything past what our TD here is seeing. And real quick, I just want to go over what kind of equipment and crews you need for these missions. It's really important to have a well-trained crew. You want to make sure your commander has sixth sense, so you're not just sitting in a position and spotted but don't know it. And camouflage needs to be done, or at least pretty well done, before these become a feasible option. As you can see, I'm not running coffee, premium consumable. It's not 100% necessary. It'll help, but you know, if you're running on a budget, don't worry about not having it. And also, I don't have a camo net or binoculars. Instead, I have a gun laying drive and coated optics for a more offensive layout. But you know, either will do. You just basically have to follow the tenets of not shooting when your team can do it for you, and of using stealth to your advantage. Alright, so it's the end of the game. We've got an autoloader, we've got mobility. It's pretty much just cleanup, and we're going to keep hunting down this IS-3 for Papa de Gaulle. Oh, there he is. And of course we miss. Put one into him, and alright. Now, as we can see from the post-game results, we did just over 7,000 damage for through spotting, and we did 900 ourselves. Came top on the team for experience earned. And as you can see, we finished the mission. It's pretty hard to do, but yeah, we finished mission. Fuck.